Hey guys, so sorry, I'm in like a back corner of my shop because everything else is a pigsty. So enjoy some plants and some terracotta bowls. But in this video coming up, I actually have a pretty simple furniture flip that I did. Typically sell vintage flips incorporate rebuilding something, building new drawers, new doors. But this one I actually just stripped and repainted it. And I think you're gonna be glad that I stripped it. I'm pretty glad that I stripped it. But not only stripped it, but stuck through the process of stripping it because there was just so much wood detail on the chest, turned wood detail, that the stripping process took forever. But I'm glad that I did, like I said, glad I stuck it out. So definitely stay tuned, keep watching, subscribe down below if you like this video and like the content. But I'll be honest, sell vintage flips aren't always like this. They're usually a complete overhaul. So this one might be a little boring, but nonetheless, it's a great before and after. So all right, here we have it. Let's go through the rundown of what this piece is going to get done. Everything's getting stripped. Well, not everything, but most everything. This back turned piece, as well as the little lid that's under it. This entire lid is going to get stripped. Pardon the dust, sorry. This front applique piece, and then I actually ended up stripping the legs as well, but you'll see that unfortunately I had to end up painting over them. But let the stripping begin. I'm pretty sure there were about 3 layers of paint on here. You'll actually notice later in the video that this turned piece was separated from that bottom lid. It was so much easier to strip once I took it off. I was just very nervous to take it off because I didn't want it to break. I'm using Citristrip paint stripper. It is pretty mild in terms of paint strippers. There are some out there that can literally probably take the skin off of you, but this one, like I said, is pretty mild. The key to it is just to leave it alone. So I actually brushed the top on and left it overnight. And you can see in the next frame that it starts to get super bubbly and cheesy looking. That's when you know it's done. And if it's not, you just scrape it off and do another layer. I used everything from wire brushes, plastic scrapers, metal scrapers, multiple rags, anything just to get the stripper and the paint off. And one good tip I have to say when it comes to sanding afterwards is to make sure the piece of wood is thoroughly dried from the stripper. So I actually usually fill up like a 5-gallon bucket and just multiple times wipe it down and then let it dry for a solid day because it's just gonna gum up your sandpaper with all of the paint stripper. I was actually pleasantly surprised to see that that back turn piece was solid mahogany. The rest of it was mahogany veneer, but nonetheless, it's still mahogany. So when it comes to sanding veneer, you just wanna be really careful because most veneer is about 0.4 millimeters thick, which translates to about 1/8 of an inch, and some is actually thinner than that. So if you're using a really coarse sandpaper, you can sand the veneer right off. So just be cautious when you're sanding veneer down. I knew I was gonna go with a pretty dark paint on the rest of the piece, so I wanted to accent that with a really rich stain. So this is actually called Honey by Minwax, and it really brought out the nice rich tones in the mahogany detail. And I did actually strip the bottom turned legs, but they didn't sand very well and I couldn't get all the paint off and the finish just looked really bad, honestly. So I ended up just painting them. Once I started spraying the piece, I painted right back over them. And who am I kidding? I started to brush this and I realized why I don't brush furniture because it takes forever and you can see all the brush marks. So spraying it is. The paint color on the base is called Nightclub by Behr. I actually went with a flat matte sheen in the paint. I really wanted the base to be flat and all of the mahogany details to have a semi-gloss sheen to it because I thought that would really enhance all of the wood details. I initially started with painting on a layer of lacquer in a gloss finish. And again, I realized why I don't paint with a brush because everything leaves a brush mark. And I know it's your technique and It's also your paintbrush, but I was just striking out on this piece. So I actually ended up sanding it and then spraying on a water-based poly in a semi-gloss. The last piece of the puzzle was just adding this keyhole cover. I really wanted to add some sort of intricate detail to it to kind of match the time period of the piece. So once I nailed this on, I attached the hinges and then put everything back together. So what do we think? Do we like the mahogany details with the bluish paint? Leave some comments below, guys. I want to definitely hear what you have to say about this one. And sometimes all a piece needs is a fresh coat of paint, and that's what this one was calling for. So thanks for watching this video. Stay tuned for the next one that I have coming out. I'm actually finishing up a piece right now that is an apothecary lookalike with a scrub pine finish. I'm actually so excited for you guys to see this one. So keep a lookout for that.